Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the first day of January 2020. Well, here we are in our Cosmic Builder year, finally. This is the third time I've started this, so I'm getting a little warm with all the candles around and the hot flashes start. So anyway, we're in the Cosmic Builder year as my hot flash builds. and uh, I've been talking about that whole transition aspect of all of this the last few weeks, but particularly today or yesterday and Monday, I was talking about how we've gone from an 11 year in 2018. So we learned a lot of things. And then last year, we were sort of bringing it all together, making some decisions. Some of them were big decisions in our country, obviously, with the impeachment. And the awareness that things are devolving at a rapid rate. And so I think that what the 22 portends is, I think, a soul level type of understanding and motivation to make things better. We had on Monday, we had a 333 gateway. Again, bringing everything into alignment, everything into that mind body spirit alignment structure that we need. But the whole thing is it's not an equal type of flow. Because we are spirit, the heaviest weight is on spirit, and so it just sort of think a funnel or think a vortex, where the heaviest weight is on spirit as it informs the mind and as it then guides the body, right? And so the body is the smallest piece of this, right? Spirit, with the spirit being the greatest. So I think that what we're going to be seeing this next year is a lot of change, but a lot of intentional change that's from a higher frequency, not so ego-driven like what we've been seeing over the last 3 years. Last 3 years has been a message in ego. We've watched it drive everything that's happening. And so very little lofty stuff is going on, except for those of us that are trying to go, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here, right? So, but I think that, as I say, the 22 energy is going to really guide us, I think. So I'm about to lose my glasses here off my nose. I only need them for reading. And unfortunately, being in this distance from my computer, it's this weird place of sometimes I can see it without my glasses, but then sometimes I've got to, anyway. So let me pull my notes up here for the astrology, so I've got them ready here. The monthly tarot is done. I need to make sure it's okay before I post it, so check that out. The geomancy reading is ready to go, but you can see no glyphs yet on it, and no intelligence or anything like that listed on it. I do a little intelligence glyph down there in the bottom box as to sort of guide the whole reading. It's usually the one that governs the very first box, which is going to be over here. And it's always read from right to left, which is weird, instead of left to right. So usually I remember, and I haven't done it yet, so hopefully I'll remember to mark the boxes 1 through 15. So when I list them, people go, which one was that? So anyway, so that's done. I just have to do it. Plus the correspondences still have to go up, but that'll be easy to do. The astrology on that one, though, will be for noon. I always do that for the noon hour. So, but as of right now, at 9:22 this morning, about a half hour ago, most planets, just an overall look at the chart itself, most planets are in the fourth quadrant, so 10th, 11th, and 12th houses. That's suggesting goal orientation, but just don't be fanatical about it. Okay, earth and water are dominating, with fire weakening. So our practical side of self, the material security is elementally stronger right now. So are our emotions. But initiative may suffer with fire weakened. Air is also weakened, but not as much as fire. So there might not be enough energy to meet the goals, even though we're feeling goal-oriented. We just might not have enough, wherewithal to do anything about it today. And no, I'm not sure it has anything to do with too much celebrating last night. So Anyway, the moon's in the first house in Pisces right now. Again, still take time out, focus on health and emotional well-being. We move into Aries tonight, though, and I can't say it's a really split energy day because it's at 8:01 p.m. my time on the West Coast. So you're going to start to see that need for seclusion sort of, kind of lessening over the course of the day, and then maybe more impetus to do things in the evening. So in other words, I won't get the geomancy reading posted and finished until the evening. Maybe I'll find my spark of life at that point there to finish it. So probably not, though. I'll probably work on it throughout the day and get it done before then. But there's also a sextile between Pluto and the moon, which basically says that you have the emotional ability right now, especially with water being high, elemental water being high, and our emotions, really being in play today. But we have the ability, it doesn't mean that your emotions are out of control either. It just means that today you're going to have the ability to shape your life as you choose. So if that's from an emotional standpoint, then basically what that's saying is that you're willing to accept change. You're willing to be flexible and to see how things flow and how they sort of settle out, Sun's in the 11th house in Capricorn. Relationships are favored, as are interactions with others, particularly either if you're the person that can be relied upon, or if you have friends that can be relied upon. That's just really important, isn't it? There's a trine between the sun and Vesta, and also your health and well-being may be in focus. So there's that to think about today. Mercury, 11th house, Capricorn, again, connections with others are favored, but credibility is important, both yourself and with others. Again, we've been dealing with a lot of deception. And so at this point now that we're in the 22 years, like, okay, we don't have time for that now. We need to know what's going on, and we need to make some decisions about it. Mars is in the 9th house of Scorpio, exploration. You may want to travel today. It might come up. You might be planning for something. Also, let's see. Warrior energy today, I guess, too, would be with that. Venus in the first house of Aquarius means you have a preference for unconventional relationships. So, that might be the friend you take to go travel about and go do some things and explore. So you might, actually end up with somebody like that today, doing something like that, or planning a trip with them, or what have you. Saturn's in the 12th house in Capricorn. So again, you're seeing this fourth quadrant impetus here, or influence. But with this, we want to explore our hidden fears. So, so there might be, if you're feeling like you want to travel, but it's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. You might be experiencing some of that fear of exploring, what's new or the unknown. It's the sort of thing, though, that keeps us in our focus and in our perceptions too. So maybe we're afraid to change, but the energy's there to do it. So take that leap of faith. Conjunct Pluto, ambition, but is there, but use leadership in a positive way. So that's kind of what the astrology is right now. And, it moves about during the day. So just kind of keep these things in mind, and we'll see where that takes us. So let's go ahead. And if you haven't been here before, thank you for coming by. Welcome. I'm going to take the first 3 cards, but I'm going to do the 13th one each time for randomness sake. If I need a 4th one, I'll do that, but not until after we look at them and see. This is going to be in response to the reading, basically. And then we're going to look at a rune from the Elder Futhark bag, and we're going to close out with a geomancy rune, kind of give you an idea what that is. And again, look for it on the blog. It's going to be probably today. All things being what they are, I think they will. It's kind of rainy out, so I don't think we'll be doing anything outside. So anyhow, let's go ahead and pick our first 3 cards. Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Sometimes they cooperate with my hands, and sometimes they don't. Well, we've got the 4 of Wands. We're just going to set that down. We're going to look at them in a minute. We won't spend really any time talking about it right this minute. More wands. We now have double that, the 8 of wands, and so we have a magnification here of intention. Because the 4 of wands were coming together in reciprocity and with intention, creating the foundation. Sort of as what's at the heart of the monthly tarot reading. That one's got 3 cards per week, so it's a 12-card reading. Well, I mean, 4 3-card readings, essentially, is what it is. But I sort of do an overall thing, so let's do the last card. Ace of Swords. So we're going to let the Ace of Swords serve today as the center card. So we're going to move it around here. And Swords is about the air element. It's about our intellect, about reason, a new direction. But it's about our mental abilities. It's about, again, reason. It's about balance. It's about justice. And when the Ace of Swords comes into play, we're talking about something new. Now, the aces are said to contain all of the energies of each suit. But you'll also find that there's more than just one. You know, here we see earth because of the mountains. We see water because of the clouds, but the clouds can also denote mystery. The hand reaching out from the cloud is a familiar theme in tarot. It means something's coming out from a higher source or from a source that's unknown. But typically, especially with this, you see the crown above there and the garland that's hanging from either side. The crown there in that position denotes spirit. So basically the hand from spirit reaches out with new perception. And that's what we've been talking about, the idea of 2018 being an 11 year and giving us some awakening. And then last year, we're bringing it all together and we're figuring out what we're going to do about what we know. And then this year, we're ready for something new. We're ready for change. We're ready for a restructuring. The Cosmic Builder is about restructuring. 4, if we were to combine the 2 and the 2 together, which we won't because it's a master number, but if we did, you would have a 4. And so we're talking about rebuilding the structure of our lives, you know, or a return to, you know, who we actually are. So, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just how you want to think about it, you know, but here, that's what this is signaling. There's a new way forward, new direction, new thinking, new awareness from spirit. And with that, one energy. So basically what we have here, so we have an 8, we have an 8 and a 4 is 12. So that's a 3 again, and 1 is a 4 energy. So again, issues of structure. Now here, I want to point out this demarcation line. We've been talking about it. They're on the one side of it because they've passed over into a new experience where they came together in reciprocity. Got that weird line there, that glare. So I'm going to kind of angle it a little bit. Maybe pull this down. Well, you come up here, you can see the garland that's crossed. It's very similar to the rune Gebo, which is an X. It's drawn as an X. You can see the X pattern up there. But you see them connecting all 4 poles. Now the couple behind there, they're holding up only 3 bouquets. So you're talking mind, body, spirit, awake, you know, alignment there. You see everybody in the background there, all their friends. You see the castle in the distance and the bridge to their new life together. But here, you see both poles on either side are balanced, right? And so what's happened here in this picture is this couple has come together with balanced intention, polarities balanced together, fully ready to embrace the future together. You know, they're looking at the other, recognizing the other as the other side of self within this relationship, bound together. in shared purpose. And that's the Four of Wands, you see. So that established the direction, right? And then we have the Eight of Wands, which I want to say, I mean, we talk about this, we can think about this in terms of swift momentum, we can think about it in terms of attack. But the eight is really more about a higher level of leadership. Think the god Tyr, think Tiwaz. Tiwaz has an eight energy from the Elder Futhark, and Tiwaz represents the spiritual warrior within. I think given the new year, given the Ace of Swords, you know, because the aces can almost, well, they really seriously do have the same weight, as far as I'm concerned, as those in the major arcana. Not so much the court, but I don't consider that as an equal weight. But the aces in the suits, because they hold all of the energies together, it's sort of the beginning manifestation point of the lessons learned from the majors, right? Sort of how I see it. So it tells you the power of this. So I kind of view the aces as a major card, really, in terms of energy and power. And so we have a new direction. We have a new perception. It has allowed us to come together with intention in balanced energy exchange to begin a new experience in unity and in strength with one another. Change is not easy. Whatever we're going to manifest this year may not be easy, but we have all of the tools at our disposal. We have what we learned in the 11 year. We have what we learned and what we brought together into some kind of a format, you know, some kind of structure so we understand what we're looking at. We did that last year. We've had the three portals during this last month of December. We had one on the 3rd, we had one on the 12th. And then we had one on the 30th. It was all a 333 gateway into mind, body, spirit alignment, preparing us for this next year, this 22 energy. Here we have Yura, which I believe is the 12th rune. Is it the 12th rune? Let me look, because I have a list here, because I forget the order sometimes. And I don't want to, because the number matters. So this is a 3 energy, being a 12. Again, mind, body, spirit balance. Catalytic energy for sure. But Yura is about moving energy through the body. It's also about transforming from one state to the next. I'm going to show you what you have here. Again, it's similar. It's essentially a bind rune. Some people draw this one way. Some people draw it the other way. I do it this way. Sometimes you have the top one going the other direction. What you have there is Kenaz, forward and reversed. And Kenaz is the light of spirit. It's the torch. You see that? And so the light of spirit, again, if you think in terms of the vortex of energy, you know, the light of spirit is what's guiding that entire process. And so we could say the same thing here. Inspiration, new direction, spirit informing our thoughts. And the thing is, what we have to understand is, if this is all a projection of the Creator's consciousness, then what we're talking about is the Creator's mind and the Creator's thoughts. And so everything is an expression of the thought of the Creator, or of the mind of the Creator. So then everything if we are co-creators with the Creator, if the Creator is all that is, then we're part of that, aren't we? And so what we co-create here is important, isn't it? What we co-create together going forward this next year will change everything. In theory, we should come together with balanced intention with one another. That's in theory what should happen here. And then we go forward together to make the change that we need with the 8. Again, the 8 is a magnification of the 4. So the intended movement toward one another in the 4 to restructure our lives just is magnified in the 8. And we're going to protect what, if we look at this in terms of attack, then we are going to protect what we're building so that we don't backslide or allow dark forces to pull us back into the abyss where we've been. Let's look at the geomancy rune. We're doing really good on time here. Usually by now I'm getting close to 30 minutes. I'm only at 20, almost 21. So I'm going to need my magnifying glass to see what I've got here, though, because it's too dark over here. So I have a single dot for fire, single dot for air, the end of the matter. Okay. Well, okay, a little geomancy lore, if you will. There's some geomancy glyphs that if they begin a reading, you're supposed to destroy the reading because it's just too evil to continue. Please. This is one of them, Kata Draconis. We have Caput and we have Kata. The other, Carcer is another one. That's self-imprisonment. The other one's Rubius, which is evil, and it just means someone's, passions are out of control. But of course, that could be evil. It just depends. But to say, but if you end the reading before you ever finish it out, then how do you know that maybe there was an evil force that you overcame? How do you know? Why would you ever end the reading? I don't understand that. Anyway, this is the tail of the dragon. Deals with the south node of the moon. It deals with past and karma. So if you're going to have the attitude of karma is going to get you, well, I suppose you've lost the battle before you've even begun you've lost the war before you've begun the battle, I guess you could say. We're talking about the underlying past influences, though, that have kept us apart, clearly. And we need to understand that whatever karma that has brought us here, whatever life experiences we're still trying to play out and rebalance, it's going to take some intention to just simply acknowledge the fallacy of the patriarchy we've been living under, if you just want to bring it down to one thing, because everything really stems from that imbalance of power, okay, that we've all been living under all this time. But now we have to shift into something a little more lofty, a little more spiritual. Ascension is here. This is the time of ascension. It's time to transmute the ego into spirit and see life from the lens of spirit vision, okay? Instead of the lens or perspective of ego, where what I want is most important. Now it's about having the awareness that if the collective is maintained and preserved, so am I. If we spend our life uplifting all, well, aren't we part of the all? Don't we get uplifted along with it? We have to get out of the gutter that we've been in. We've been, we go below the abyss when we focus into form. That's what form is. It's the abyss, right? But we can make that what we want it. It can resonate the way we need it to. The whole point of being here is to grow spiritually. It doesn't happen if we stay in the ego and if we allow the ego to constantly drive the ship, basically. So the whole notion of the cosmic builder is spirit is taking the reins now and saying, okay, you guys have fooled around long enough, and now we're going to get down to business. And now what needs to happen is going to happen. Enough of you have figured this out, and we've reached the tipping point, and now we can move in to the collective awareness of self. That's ascension. All right. There's an energetic ascension as well where we can ascend whenever we want to. I don't think we're there yet. We're not vibrating high enough yet. But over time, we don't need to come back to third density. That's not going to happen. The tipping point has been reached and we're going to move forward into that. And we'll be ascending into higher densities, that are actually less dense. You go to the fifth density is much lighter than the third. You go into the fifth dimension. Dimensions are different than densities. Think what density is, quality of energy. And so density, we're going to be moving into higher densities of experience, of existence. Basically, the more dense you are, think about this piece of selenite. This is a rock, okay? This is the most dense. Yes, there's space between the atoms and all of that, but think of this being the most dense. Our body's maybe a little less dense than the rock. More water, more space, we have more more resonant energy than this rock will have. Although it does have its own resonant energy. Don't think it doesn't. It's not dead, it's alive. but the point is that as you come up the scale, your density is less than first density, second density, and all of that. Those were when the planets were formed and the plants and animals and all of that. And the minerals and all of that, that was taken care of in first and second. But when you get into third, you get into, the higher primates, you get into us and all of that. And as we ascend higher, then we move more in the direction of our light body. So that's really what ascension is. When you reach that ability where you can basically, chant the tones to create the light body you need, and there you go, and you can go wherever you want. We're not there yet, but we have to move in that direction. That's the reason for the 22 year. Okay? So, with Kata Draconis, though, is signaling the end of one phase and the beginning of another one. The end of karma affecting us to the level that it keeps us in the ego. We're now ready to transmute that into something better. So, into higher frequency of experience. So there you go. I guess that's it. Not too bad for the first day of a decade, first day of our lifetimes together, because now it's together, no more separation. Anyhow, if you think about it, the 22 is embodied in the card, isn't it? 22, right? 2-2. Where we come together and rebuild our foundation together. So, I don't know, too much synchronicity for it not to be so. So again, thank you for coming by. Come back tomorrow. I do this 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, so one more day. And then you get 3 days to think about it all. Go back to your place and think about it. So anyway. Thanks so much for coming by, and click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. Check out the blog and check out the links below the video, and sign up for the newsletter. I think it's going to be cool. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another, and blessed be.